Hey everyone, Ryan here with the Rays latest, and today we have some major roster news that involve around about 14 players that are getting either added to our 40-man and or been DFA'd and or traded. So it's some kind of big shakeup in the Rays organization today, and we're about to jump straight into it. And now regarding the Rule of 5 draft deadline that I had talked about in the episode that aired today, the three players that I had mentioned that I would love to have seen added to the 40-man to be protected from the Rule 5 draft, Dominic Keegan, Alex Cook, and Jadir Harenmo, have been added to the 40-man today, so that is good news for them. So they will not be eligible for the Rule of 5 draft in December. So I touched on a couple of those guys, and I wasn't really very surprised at all that those were the three names that were added to the 40-man. And I think that was going to be kind of the plan all along. That's just kind of where my gut was telling me what was going to happen there, especially having one of them being a catcher in Dominic Keegan. I think he was definitely the safest option out of everybody. I do think that him and Wood were kind of the no-brainer additions there. And Jadir, he's been a fantastic prospect for us. So adding him is not bad for us at all either way. And now some crazy kind of roster moves that have taken place today. DFA'd, Jake Fraley was DFA'd today, which is kind of it's a question mark to me because we just picked him up a week ago. And so it's kind of one of those things where, like, why go out and get him if you're just going to DFA him? So I don't know if something happened to that or with that in this short time frame. So that's weird. But the big name that got DFA'd today, who I have been very, very stuck on the last couple weeks talking about we kind of need to get him out of here, is Christopher Morel. He was DFA'd today as well, along with Fraley, to add those spots on the 40-man roster for Keegan and Wood. And I was kind of shocked that it was a DFA and not a trade, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I am also pretty sure that his contract would not be kind of up there for a possible trade, in my opinion, being owed $2.4 million. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm not upset with the move at all. If you got to get rid of the guys, and Morel being kind of one of the worst performers, I would say statistically wise, in that outfield group that you already have, that's kind of loaded packed right now with a lot of subpar talent. I think that Morel leaving is definitely what we were kind of planning on seeing at some point, but I think it was just kind of more of the DFA'd part rather than a trade was kind of interesting to me. But Morel is gone. As well as Tristan Gray has been traded to the Boston Red Sox for Luis Guerrero. And Forrest Whitley, in another kind of shocking move, has been granted a release from his contract to go join Bobby Seymour in Japan. Not necessarily on the same team with him, but he is going to Japan to pursue playing opportunities there. So that one kind of I saw that, and that kind of like jumped off at the page at me. And I'm kind of like, what's up with all these guys wanting to go play in Japan? Now, Whitley's been one of those guys where he's kind of been a highly regarded prospect for the last multitude of years. And once he finally got up in the Astros organization to the big league level, nothing really clicked for him. And we picked him up this past season, kind of looking forward to it. Nothing really clicked either. So I'm kind of curious to see if he kind of just needs like a mental refresh or fresh restart over in Japan. So I'm curious to see how that goes and how he's going to maybe kind of go about coming back to the U.S. But with Luis Guerrero, there's some question marks. Statistically wise, he hasn't been like the worst. Like, he's not been a horrible player at all. The only really big problems that you have with him is he has he has a 3.89 ERA in three AAA seasons, which is not crazy bad to think of. Around hovering a little sub 4 ERA out of a reliever is not bad. The only thing that kind of jumps off the page at you that's kind of scary is in his major league outings that he's had the past couple seasons. He's walked 15% of the batters he's faced. And that's kind of one of those numbers that's a kind of scary number when you're expecting a high leverage arm out of your pen. Walking 15, almost a fifth of the batters you face is not ideal for high leverage situations out of the pen. And he's got a fantastic 18.6% strikeout rate. So it's not like he's not striking people out. And it's the walk and the control problems for him have always kind of been out there for him. And from Tristan Gray's perspective, he had 86 plate appearances last year. He had 231 with 3 homers and 5 doubles, and he walked at a 7% clip and struck out 22% of the time. So that's kind of one of those guys that's you've got just kind of a loaded position player grouping that you kind of just need to get rid of, and you need to get things in return. Like I kind of wish I would have saw from the Morel deal there. But getting a reliever in return that could possibly, we've seen what the Rays organization could do for pitchers, and I'm sure that the front office is seeing a guy like Guerrero and is kind of leaning towards maybe we can get this guy right. So I'm curious to see how he ends up doing, but I am really looking forward to him coming onto the team. I think that it's going to be pretty good for him. And last year he made 22 appearances, posted a 2.63 ERA over 27 and a third innings with 19 Ks. But like I said, he gave up 15 hits, walked 16. And in 27 innings out of the pen, walking 16 guys and giving up 15 hits is just not going to cut it on a big league level. So I'm curious to see kind of he was DFA'd this past week, so I'm curious to see kind of how he develops in our organization and see if he can become a pretty good bullpen piece for us. And also in some Rays news as well, Eric Orsi was traded to the Minnesota Twins for minor leaguer Jacob Kisting, who was drafted in 2024. Also, Everson Pereira and Tanner Murray was traded to the White Sox for Yandres Gomez and Steven Wilson. So a couple things. Kisting in high A last season, he was 5-5 with a 3.79 ERA in 73 innings, struck out 77. Out of the film that I've seen from him, the off-speed stuff is there, and the whip is really good at a 1.09. It's kind of, you don't really find too many sub 1 whip guys anymore with how juiced balls are and kind of the whole strikeout or walk kind of era that you're in. So at a 1.09, that's a pretty solid whip. And for Guerrero, he has a career 4.86 ERA in 144 innings with 136 hits. So it's kind of not something that I'm like super excited about, but I think that statistically wise, I think that those numbers are decent. He's only given up 136 hits in 144 innings. The strikeout numbers are there, which is good, and kind of just trying to get as much pitching as possible and kind of just trying to see what guys click is, I think, what Neander's kind of trying to do. And as well as Steven Wilson, he's a 3.86 ERA in 201 games at a big league level, 196 innings pitched, 150 hits. Strikeout numbers are there as well. So these are some guys that I'm really kind of curious to see where we place them, and if they're going to be kind of back end guys or if they're going to be kind of just try to bridge mid relief innings. Because Wilson had 3 saves in his 4-year career, and Morales has 1. So it's kind of, these guys aren't high leverage relievers by any means. So I'm curious to see kind of how they fit into our bullpen, and maybe trying to see if you can maybe get one of them into kind of a high leverage role at the end of the day. But I'm curious to see what they do with those. But I'm really excited with some of the moves I was seeing. I do like the Rule 5 additions to the 40 man, as well as I do like the DFAing of Christopher Morel, kind of getting him away from this outfield group that we have that's already been kind of slammed. And you can kind of see that Fraley being DFA'd, Morel being DFA'd, you're kind of getting these position players kind of out of the 40 man and bringing in more pitchers. So I'm really excited. I do like what Neander's doing, and I think I kind of see a silver lining of what he's trying to do, and I like it. And I'm curious to see if he tries to make any more bigger moves and what kind of maybe a Rule of 5 draft pick looks like for us this year, and see where he kind of goes with that, if he tries to go position route or pitcher route. But I'm curious to know what he's going to do. You guys let me know what you think he's going to do. And if you guys have any questions you want me to address, please let me know. And you guys have a great one.